Hi everyone, I'm Dorothy Brown and I am a candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago in the February 2019 election. I'm a proven leader with a proven track record and I have a grave concern about what's going on in this city. I'm going to be mayor of all of the city of Chicago. My theme / hashtag is hashtag hope for all Chicago. It is important that we have fair and equitable allocation of economic development for the entire city of Chicago. The city of Chicago is 228 square miles. We have over 200 neighborhoods and 77 communities. Every square block needs to be world class. How can we say that we're a world class city when you look at your own block and it doesn't look world class? You look at your neighborhood and it doesn't look world class. You look at your community and it doesn't look world class. I am pledging to work with you, the citizens of Chicago, to make our city truly world class.
What do you think is missing from today's current mayor that, with you in place, you'll make a difference?
Well, one of the things that I have is a voice for the people. Having a feeling for the people, for the community. Mr. Muhammad, you can look at the things that I have done in my experience as clerk of the circuit court. The expungement summit that I do, that's touching the people, not just governing the people, but touching the people and really feeling their needs. I was just recently on the West Side, and one of the gentlemen said to me that the streets are crying. People are crying. They need hope. I don't think that the current administration is in touch with that hope. I'm in touch with that hope. I was raised by a set of poor and uneducated parents, so I understand when people are hurting, and that's one of the things that I bring to the table. But more than that even, I bring my financial background. You see, I don't want to just look at the things that are currently being done. I don't want to just think outside of the box. I want to break that box and create a new box. We can't just simply use the same old techniques that we've used in the past. I want to bring new and revolutionary ideas and strategies and methodologies to finding new revenue, similar to what I did when I took over as clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. I looked deep into the clerk of the court. I looked at things that people had not looked at in 20, 30 years to see exactly where our fees were. I put a committee together, a Revenues Opportunities Committee, to dig deep to see what our current fees were, to see if our computer systems were properly charging, then to see whether or not our staff was properly charging those fees as well, and then to determine exactly when were judges waiving our fees so that we could start to make some changes. And I sent my staff to court revenue collection conferences to actually see what other counties were doing. And so that's what I want to do with the city of Chicago to stabilize this revenue. Look at some of the other cities in this country and abroad. Is it regional? Is it based upon location? Or are there things that they're doing that we can do here? So I, as a person that has a financial background, as a CPA and a person with a Master's in Business Administration and Finance, I'm in a position, unlike many, to not only have people to give me recommendations, but to assess the cause and effect of those recommendations. So I am an experienced financial person that can help stabilize the revenue in this city.
What would you say is, out of the many things that you have done, is one of those things that you really are proud of and that it's really been helping the people?
One of the things that I'm really, really proud of is having negotiated an electronic filing contract where the county paid $0 for the implementation. I've had this vendor for over 10 years, and they actually implemented the electronic filing system. They have developed it. They've given me millions and millions of dollars worth of work on that system, and I paid $0. The contract said that they would get paid when a person actually used the system. So they got paid by user fees. I didn't take dollars from the rest of the citizens of Cook County and the dollars that they had paid for property taxes and the like to purchase that system. Only the individuals that use the system pay the dollars to that particular company. So I'm very proud of that. Giving people the opportunity to file from the comfort of their home or their office is something that I'm also very proud of. And so I was very proud of having negotiated that type of contract.
And you know, I think sometimes it's a challenge because of the short times that an elected official may be in office to really implement the changes, right? If Obama had 16 years, you know, imagine what he would have done.
Right.
But you know, you've been in the position you are in for, how many is it,
17 and a half years.
17 and a half
Yes, yes. And so what I have been able to do.
That in and of itself is phenomenal, especially with, from my standpoint. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it does not appear as though you have the backing of the Good Old Boys Network or the Democratic Party. But to be in position that long says a lot about how the people feel about you.
Right. You know, I'm a person, as I talked earlier, I'm a voice for the people, a voice for the voiceless, if you will. And I am out there and I'm listening to the people and I'm touching them and I'm making changes based upon the things that I hear from them. And when people complain to me or tell me that they're being mistreated, I look into those matters immediately. So that's why people continue to vote for me, because they trust me and they know that I keep my word. And so, you know, being the clerk of the court for over 17 years, that makes me the longest serving clerk of the court in the history of Cook County. And that's really something. I thank the people for doing what they do, but I have put a lot of hard work, a lot of hours in helping people in every way that I possibly can.
And what are some of the, you obviously, because it's what, 7 elections now, or is it 6, 7 elections?
5 elections, 5 elections now, yes.
So you know what it takes to win.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
So talk a little bit, you know, I mean, you may not want to go into your strategy per se, but talk a little bit about what you know it's going to take to win. Now you have, I think because of the missteps of the current mayor, you have a lot of people jumping in, a lot more black candidates jumping in this election cycle. So talk a little bit about, you know, what it's going to take for a black candidate to win and what that means for the city.
Well, let me say this. I'm running for mayor for all of Chicago, all of the citizens. You know, I think that it's important that we are fair and equitable for everyone, and that's what it's all about. I think that in order for me to win, I'm going to work hard to earn the vote of every citizen around this particular city, regardless of race. I want their support. I want them to realize that I have the background, I have the commitment, I have the experience that is needed for Chicago, and I have the heart for the people. That's what it's all about. So I'm going to be taking my campaign to everyone in every way possible. If someone wants to invite me, I want to be there, just as I've always campaigned, and be engaging, engage the citizens. What I'm going to do, Mr. Muhammad, is do a listening tour for the citizens of Chicago, because I think that all too often we don't realize it's a government for the people, of the people, and by the people. And we fail to realize that, and we don't get the input from the people because people are experiencing the things related to what's going on in this city, and they can help us better than anyone. One of the things that I do in my office is I get suggestions from my staff. They're interfacing and interacting with the customers every day, and they know better than me how to improve that system. And so I've had competitions for my staff to give me recommendations for raising revenue, for improving the operations of the office, and they've given some great ideas. And I've had award ceremonies similar to Academy Awards events to honor my staff. And so I'm going to be out there listening for ideas from the citizens. And one of the things that I want to implement as mayor is a citizens review committee, a citizens review committee to look at the budget, look at our services, give us recommendations as to how to improve what we do in the city of Chicago.
And what would be, this question is often asked, what would be your first agenda item if you were elected the next mayor?
My first agenda item is to look at the Chicago Police Department, because I think that that the problems that we're having with the Chicago Police Department as it relates to the distrust that people have related to the police department and its police, and it would be all a part of my criminal justice reform. And look at the recommendations that the Justice Department gave to see where are we with that. How can we improve that? The training for the police officers. Mr. Muhammad, I feel that the implicit bias that exists for police, it's obviously real, and we have to take that a lot more serious. We have to make it a mandatory training, not a voluntary training, and because in order for police officers to really see everyone equitable, they have to get down deep. And I'm talking about all races, because we all have some type of implicit bias going on within us. And we have to really assess that and help people change. And I want to bring people in to work with the police department so that they can get an idea, so that we can see, the citizens can see, can interface with the police department, not just with community policing, but some kind of ongoing interaction so that we can learn one another and start to make some real change. So the criminal justice reform is going to be the first thing. Second thing would be education. And I'm tossed between those two because they're both right there together. Educating our children, fixing that system so that our parents do not have to fight to try to get a few little positions in magnet schools, but let's raise the quality of our school system so that all of the children are getting a magnet school type education.
Yes, and so would you have closed so many schools as Ron did?
Oh my goodness. Of course, I'm not in that position, and I would not have been able to look at the numbers, but I think it goes back to even before those schools were closed and the things that occurred to cause the attendance to go down, to make them feel that they had to close those schools. I would roll it back to before that, to dealing with the crime in that neighborhood that caused people to leave that neighborhood. What were the symptoms? What were the things that caused that? I would go back to that. I would want to roll it all the way back and start making changes in that regard, so I would not have even had to close any schools, because the school population and the attendance would have been up and thriving. People are leaving the city. Why are they leaving the city? They're leaving certain neighborhoods. Why is that happening? So we have to look at, I would have wanted to have fixed it even before that was necessary. And then if it came to that, then I would have wanted to look to see how can we possibly keep these schools open. We're closing some schools that have a lot of history, and it is just really, really.
For business owners,
Yes.
Black business, there's been a theme in the past few years where people, I think, are redirecting their energy and understanding how important businesses are to the strength of a community. So the more Black businesses are popping up, more people want to support them. What are some of the avenues and angles that you would look at to help support some of these upcoming new businesses?
Well, Mr. Muhammad, it's about community wealth building. Community wealth building. As you build the wealth of the community, you're talking about helping the businesses to thrive, giving them all the kind of support that they need, giving them mentorships. Large businesses mentoring small businesses, having some type of business center, that's manned by the city, that businesses can come to and get support. Some kind of financial, when I say financial, I mean making sure that businesses know how to get to the Small Business Administration, having some kind of Small Business Administration office right there at the city that facilitate small businesses getting loans. A lot of times people don't survive is because they don't have the information and the knowledge as to how to survive. And then with that, what we have to realize that small businesses employ more people than large businesses do, or just as many people. And so in order for our community, all of our communities to be wealthy, if you will, going back to the community wealth building, and to have jobs for individuals, we have to make sure that our small businesses are healthy.
You hear a lot about what elected officials can do for the community, but I think it does have to be a two-way street, and the community has to be there, whether it's through voting, and there is, of course, supporting candidates financially. What are some of the things that you look for the community to help support you?
Well, I'm looking for the community to help me with shaping and the platforms, adding to my platforms that I'm espousing, giving me ideas so that I can reach even more people. I would like to see them contact me on dorothyformayor.com to sign up to volunteer for helping us. A lot of times people are, they want to help, but they also want to help if you want to provide payment, which I understand that people need to work and they need to be able to get payment. But sometimes we also have to look at the larger picture and to say, how is this going to help my children? How is this going to help my family? How is having a Dorothy Brown, someone that is concerned about the people in office? Prime example, on yesterday, I was out grocery shopping and I was getting ready to pass by this gentleman's car. He had just put his daughter in the car and he was getting ready to put his groceries in the car, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, you're Dorothy Brown." I said, "Yes, I am." He said he lifted up the back door of his SUV and he pointed to his little daughter, who I think was 7 or 8 years old. And he said, "I want you to look at this young lady, daughter, I won't call her name." He said, "because she's the one that's going to help all of us, help to make things better for all of us." Now, he was a perfect stranger. Now, but what that says to me is that the things that I've already done in this city speaks to that. He was one of the people that actually had gotten help from one of my expungement summits. And while I was standing there, he started shedding tears about how he has been able to turn his life around, get a great job, because he was able to get that second chance at the expungement summit. And so he just, so I want people to see it as see the larger picture and realize that I'm a person that has their back, if you will, and will be there for them. It's proven. I've never turned my back on anyone since I've been in this office, and I reach out to all of the communities. So we're talking about #HopeForAllChicago.
Beautiful. Thank you. Is there any closing statement anything we didn't cover you think is important for the people to know about?
Well, I think that it's important for you to realize that I'm concerned about you regardless of where you live, whether it's from Rogers Park to Hyde Park, from Mount Greenwood to Woodlawn, whether it's Brownsville to Wrigleyville, Humboldt Park to West Garfield Park, right here in Chatham, over on South Shore. We say from the Gold Coast to the Soul Coast of South Shore. Regardless of where you live in Algier Garden, wherever you live, I have concern for you, and I want to be your mayor, and I want to make this city fair and equitable for all of us. What I want to do is have an economic development plan. I didn't talk about that. An economic development plan that looks at every part of this city to make sure that we have good economic development. And I want to attract businesses to the city of Chicago, but I want to work with the mayors from around. I don't want to work against them, but I want to work with them so that we can attract businesses here. If I help to attract a business out into Maywood, guess what? That's only a 20-minute drive from Chicago. So I've attracted jobs to the Chicagoland area, and some of the citizens of Chicago can get those jobs as well. So I want to work with them, not against them. I want to strengthen them while we strengthen the city of Chicago as well. So those are the things I want to do. Visit me on my website, dorothyformayor.com, and please sign up to volunteer to help us bring hope for all Chicago.